Glad to have you.
Glad to be here, and glad to have you guys as well. Today we're going to talk about WikiLeaks, which made some press probably every day. In fact, if you look
WikiLeaks?
if you look at the Washington Post today, they have some information on leaked documents and how that's all the rage in terms of politics and all the stuff going on. So WikiLeaks, have you heard of WikiLeaks?
I was going to say WikiLeaks kind of sounds like a medical problem that somebody might have.
That's pretty good.
Well, actually, when I said wiki earlier, I started thinking of my DJ days.
Man.
Wiki. Is that funny? I think it's a little bit funny.
I think it's
not a lot of bit
really
funny,
good.
but a little bit funny. Yeah. So
Hey, somebody left chocolate
WikiLeaks
here.
is pretty cool stuff.
So anyway, we talked about Wikipedia a few episodes ago, and Wikipedia is really the open source, crowd collaborative documentation system. In fact, my third grade son's teacher, who we won't name, said, "Don't ever use Wikipedia. It's all false." But however, we know that with the crowd mechanism of self-checking and balances,
Right.
that over time those documents do get pretty accurate. But WikiLeaks is something else that just used the whole wiki term, but the site doesn't look like anything like it.
Wiki.
It's more of a news site, and really they're defined as an international nonprofit organization that publishes previously secret or classified information from anonymous sources. That's really what they do.
So wiki, the whole wiki part has nothing to do with witches and warlocks and
Are you surprised?
no.
So Wikipedia,
Another bad joke. Sorry, guys.
right, is different,
sorry.
right? Wikipedia has been around since probably, I think we said, 12 years or 13
Yeah,
years.
Wikipedia.
WikiLeaks actually just turned 10 years in October of last year. And the guy who started it, or the founder, or the philosopher behind it, really we associate WikiLeaks with Julian Assange, and he's made some news. He's from Australia, but he's the name that's most associated with it, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But really, the notoriety for WikiLeaks started in around 2010 when they released a bunch of documents around the Afghanistan war, around the Iraq war. And when I say a bunch of documents, I'm talking about 400,000 plus, 300,000 at a fell swoop, and all this information. And so, go ahead.
I was going to say, so these guys from Australia have figured out a way to penetrate the impenetrable internet safety or security zone, and they're sharing that information as well.
Half right. Well, one guy from Australia, but he's not there anymore. He's, just an Australian. I guess maybe we shouldn't even classify him. He's all over.
He's a person.
Yeah, he's a person, but the way that WikiLeaks works is they get information. So there's a technical term that hackers use. It's called doxing, D-O-X-I-N-G. What that means is that I hack into a computer network, and I grab the entire directory structure of that company, and then I release them. That's doxing. So if you get doxed or your company gets doxed, somebody's got all of the documentation. So, when Sony in 2000 and I don't know when that was recently, 2014, I believe.
remember when that happened, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Remember that movie that was coming out called The Interview, where it had Seth Rogen, and they were going to interview Kim Jong-un, the son of Kim Jong-il.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yep.
And so North Korea, it was actually confirmed, hacked Sony's network. And so employees came in and they logged into their computers. And what happened was they saw red warnings with skeleton. They couldn't get to their network.
I remember
And they
that.
got doxxed. So this North Korea stole hundreds of thousands of documents from Sony servers. They published them out there. Or they gave them to WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks got them to anonymize it. It's kind of like laundering money, but WikiLeaks launders, the sender of that info. In fact, they provide a lot of ways to strip the identity from whoever sends it. They give you anonymous ways to upload it.
Okay.
Anyway, those documents included emails with links to government ties around the world from Sony executives. It had terms of agreement with licensors. It had unlimited or unreleased movies and movie footage, all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
And the rumor was that North Korea did it because they didn't want that movie released. A few days later, Sony decided not to release that movie on wide scale.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. You can still get the movie. It's still available for download and all that fun stuff, but that's called doxing. So the notoriety for WikiLeaks started, back in 2010, but, we have that with, Professor or the Private First Corporal Bradley Manning, who, was rumored to have released those 700,000 documents around Iraq and Afghanistan to WikiLeaks. And now, Bradley Manning is now sentenced to 35 years in jail, but has applied for a transgender operation. So it's Chelsea Manning. So if you Google,
wow,
it's no longer Bradley. So interesting story, another topic for another day. However,
I missed all that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In 2011, hundreds of documents released around Guantanamo Bay and treatment of prisoners, all this fun stuff. In September of 2011, do you remember Cablegate? This is a good one.
No, I do not.
So 251,287 U.S. State Department government cables, right? So these are the transmissions of communications to other countries were released. So we're going to talk about, when we come back from the jump, we'll talk about, how that information, what WikiLeaks does with it when they get the information. But they got this information. All of it's still encrypted. They had a lot of the information in redacted format, which means that if it's classified, everything that's classified on a document is blacked out. If you've ever seen one of these things, typically a large part of those documents are blacked out because they're not
all classified.
Well, they also happen to get classified information that wasn't redacted, so it was all blacked out. Now, WikiLeaks went to the U.S. State Department and said, "Can you help us redact these?" And of course, what a bind for the State Department. Do they say, "Okay, this is legitimate, and we don't want this released, so we're going to help you," or we're going to discredit everything you've got and take the risk that you might release this stuff blindly? Wow. So, very awkward situation, and you can tell why he's not a very popular man in the U.S. or some other countries.
Well, you mentioned earlier hackers, and it's doxing that they do?
Doxing.
Oh,
D-O-X,
doxing?
like documents.
Like the dog.
Right. No, like
that's
documents. Stop confusing people.
Doxing. So my question is that, so you're in a computer world, so you know any guys that are doxers?
I don't even know anybody.
Or hackers or whatever you want to call them.
Not allowed to talk. I don't know. What is that word?
I don't know. You're going to plead the fifth?
Yes. Yes.
I'm with you. You're going to choose a verbal asylum here. You're not going to share your information.
The anonymous group,
yeah.
is actually pretty good at doxing. So they've doxed, they've embarrassed people, celebrities,
how can you be good at something bad?
Activists. Right. Well, no, they have all of these hackers, including Mr. Assange and his group, who are not hackers, but they provide a conduit for them. It's freedom of the press, freedom of information, right? I just saw the movie a couple days ago. It's been out for a little while, called Snowden.
Yeah.
Snowden. Awesome. Watch it. He actually makes a cameo at the end. And why he wanted to do it is because he wanted people to know that this PRISM, software was intercepting and analyzing everything that U.S. citizens did who were not even under a watch list for the government.
Gotcha. Well, let's jump into that after the break. We are taking a quick break here on Tech Talk 2020. Join us after the break here on WINT Radio, 1330 AM and 101.5 FM, integrityradio.com.
Pat O'Brien Chevrolet has every major brand of tire for every make and model, and we're offering a 30-day price match guarantee. Find a better price within 30 days and we'll refund the difference. And we're offering a tire and alignment check absolutely free at Pat O'Brien Chevrolet.
I'm Robin Trzynski from the Original Mattress Factory. If you're in the market for a new mattress, this is your wake-up call. Have you noticed something strange is happening? Suddenly, there are as many mattress stores as there are coffee shops. Why? What's really going on? Are they competitors or something else? Every holiday, a different sale. Every day, a different price. Do you think it is their intention to confuse us? My father Ron told me, trust your gut. It knows what your head hasn't figured out yet. At the Original Mattress Factory, we have never had a sale. Why? Well, let's just say the usual mattress sales don't fit our values. Our formula is comfort, support, and durability at a fair price. How? Your original mattress is designed here, made here, and only sold here. Looking for an honest price on a hand-built mattress? No reason to wait for a holiday to shop. Today works for us too. The Original Mattress Factory. Thoughtfully made, honestly priced. OriginalMattress.com.
Time now for Adventures in Commuting, episode number 22. Winter storm stressing you out? Is driving in that whiteout giving you white knuckles? Stop slipping and sliding and start relaxing and riding. Try Lake Tran Park and Ride today. With 18 departures from 9 Lake County locations, Lake Tran can get you there. Life has enough adventure. Your drive to work shouldn't be one of them. Try Lake Tran Park and Ride for free. Visit laketran.com/free ride. Lake Tran Park and Ride. Hop on. We'll drive.
Hi, it's Steve. Join Al and me at 7 a.m. with Janine Tornator from Orbitz.com with a 2017 travel forecast. Paul Hochman, one of America's top tech journalists, live from the Consumer Electronics Show, plus the News Herald's Mark Mazzoros on Integrity Radio, WINT 101.5 FM and 1330 AM.
Welcome back to Tech Talk 2020 with Sanjay Parker. I'm Sanjay Parker here in the new year, enjoying another exciting year of Tech Talk 2020. Actually, our second year. Last year was our inaugural year, and we're very excited to be here talking about WikiLeaks, which is something that Mike Carswell knows so much about.
Yeah, hey guys, welcome back to Tech Talk 2020 here on Integrity Radio. I don't know a lot about WikiLeaks. That's why I'm here, because the theme or the mantra of our show is let's get smarter together. So all you folks out there that are listening or watching or observing or scrolling or whatever you're doing, we're going to try to learn a little bit about WikiLeaks, because that is definitely a word that is utilized today in the media frequently without definition.
Right. So if you listen to the first half of the show, you'd know that it's a nonprofit international organization that allows people to provide information that's previously classified or secret or hidden under anonymity. So it's kind of like a press place for either hackers or people with information who want to be whistleblowers, etc. So if you go to the site, actually, wikipedia.org, you'll see that, some of the tags, it's not like Wikipedia at all with a million topics and content. It's actually got some headers and some tags that they have topics for, like intelligence, global economy, international politics, corporations, government, war and military. And if you click and drill down, for example, if you go and look at Sony's emails or leaked documents from 2014, you can actually go in, and it's like you're on some corporate network. You're drilling down through folders. You're getting documents that are in draft, signed documents, emails. It's pretty creepy, the amount of information that's out there. And so you can see things like negotiated contracts, fees, licensing agreements, all of that stuff, even from artists that you might know.
Not that we're not about creating an environment of fear, but isn't it kind of disturbing to know that, the security that we're promised, so to speak, online can be hacked?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you watch the movie Snowden or you talk to any security expert, putting a Band-Aid or a piece of tape over the webcam built into your camera, turning off your phone instead of just, making sure it's not connected, even removing the battery from your phone if you can. These guys go to extreme lengths. There's always ways to hack it. So, today, online security is not assured, right? You can with your credit card companies, but it happens. And so they will take care of the ramifications by, providing a year of credit monitoring, doing all of this stuff. It's going to continue to happen because as security gets one step ahead of the hackers, then the hackers go in and find a way to work around it.
And these guys that are hackers, so to speak, out there, hi guys, please don't hack me, but hackers out there, I just wonder sometimes, is the goal for financial gain? Is it a goal for bragging rights? Generally, when someone is trying to disrupt your life, what do they have a purpose in mind, or just trying to be show their level of intelligence? What's the scale?
Yeah, the answer is yes, everything. So you've got groups that will. I've had a client. I think we talked about this on a previous show, but he got tricked into opening an attachment that encrypted all of the contents on his hard drive that were, pictures, documents, Excel spreadsheets, basically everything he really needed.
Who wants my picture?
Right. Well, so he was a CFO at a small or medium-sized company, and what happened was he needed his documents, so he couldn't get them. They were all encrypted, and so he had to pay some hackers in Russia using Bitcoin. It was several $100s to get the key to de-encrypt his data. And so that's a good segue into this next point. How does WikiLeaks distribute that information once they get it? They don't always put it right out there, especially stuff that's sensitive to governments and things that could really land them in trouble. How do they get around this, and what do they do?
That's a good question, because I know during the election, there were some, excuse me, some threats of releasing information, and we always had to wait till next Thursday or whenever to get it. Well, it always makes me chuckle. If you got it now, why didn't you share it now?
Yeah.
Well, we have to continue to process it. Is that to cook in the oven longer, or what's the deal?
Yeah, well, there is. WikiLeaks itself actually did try to do a bit of due diligence around the content they were releasing to, if there's 475,000 documents, it's hard to go through everyone. They have a little staff. They're nonprofit. There's people who donate money to help them, but they don't have the staff to, review each of these. But what they have done is, for example, in the release of the cables, right, in Cablegate in 2011, where they released all those U.S. State Department cables,
right?
They released the documents, parts of the documents, to each of 4 different global news organizations. So they went to Le Monde, El País, The Guardian, and Der Spiegel from Germany. And so they said, you guys are big, you're international, you're reputable, you're true journalists. We're going to give you the information. You decide how to report it. Same thing Snowden did when he called in The Guardian to come and get all that document. He said, you have it. Here's the encryption. You guys go through it and you report it. I'm just giving you the information, right? You decide what's responsible. So what WikiLeaks did was then they gave a portion of those 400 or 700,000 plus documents. Actually, Cablegate was 251,287. Gave them out to each of those 4. The Guardian actually released some of those to the New York Times, and now the New York Times is part of this group that gets WikiLeaks information. And they said you can have it, but you're not going to have the metadata around it. Right. Nothing around the source. You're not going to get the country of origin, the classification level, reference ID. It's going to be stripped. You go in and you can look at that. So each of these 5 organizations, if you search them for the Cablegate emails and documents, they'll have parts of it. Some of them may have reconstructed online searches. They're piecing them together. They're deciding how to release them. So it's kind of interesting because all of the files, though, for all the Cablegate documents, the 251,000, are actually in an encrypted file that's 1.4 gigabytes big that's stored all over the internet. Yeah. So that's all over there. And what WikiLeaks has said is if you shut us down or you do whatever to us, we have a poison pill, which means we have the key, which is so small we can tweet it out. And anybody in the world can find these documents and get all of the Cablegate documents unredacted, unencrypted through this process. So don't mess with us. Right. It's crazy.
So like they have their own nation.
They have their own way to protect themselves. Like a company might have a poison pill in case of a corporate takeover. Mm-hmm. These guys have that poison pill threat with an encryption key that's readily releasable for all of those documents. And all those documents are in an encrypted file all over the world in multiple locations.
Again, as we're getting smarter together here, you're not building my level of confidence in the good old internet and what's out there and the information that we actually share.
Yeah, you shouldn't put anything on a computer, let alone connect to the internet, with things that you don't want to be tracked or traced or exposed. I mean, we use this in business. We say, hey, if what you're doing, at your company, whenever we talk about, new project or a new way to do things, if the information gets released to the New York Times, who's going to take the fall? Right. So, for example, we had a large enterprise that was doing some videos on consultative selling, which really meant how to get more money out of your existing clients. And so one of the partners said, hey, this is great, but we're putting this on this untested technology that could be hacked. It looks secure, but it's not internal. Yeah. What if the New York Times gets that? Don't you think our clients would be mad that we have ways that we're trying to upsell them?
Of course.
And so that thing was
stopped. You mean your customers?
Yeah.
Your customers, yeah.
Right. Stopped dead in its tracks. So, even those kind of things, people are very cautious about, knowing that there's so many opportunities for it to get hacked. Now, even with a computer that never, ever connects to the internet, you'd think that's safe, right?
Well, again, of course it is.
Right.
Of course it's never connected to the internet.
Right. So they've now just released ways where they can walk up to that computer, put in a USB key for, 2 seconds, pull it out, and now there's a piece of code on your computer that will modulate the frequency of the fan on your computer depending on what you type in, and a listening device can then log your keystrokes based on that fan speed alteration that a human can't hear, but another computer can pick it up.
But why does anybody know where I go? I mean, honestly, I think you just have to be wise with the internet. As we've got a couple more minutes to talk about this. You have to be wise with the internet. You basically don't share too much. I mean, you and I both have social media accounts, and we have friends and neighbors that just share way too much.
Absolutely. Oversharing. That should be on a lot of people's New Year's resolution list for 2017.
Yes.
Don't overshare.
I like that. There was, I think I liked the commercial where the woman's sitting in the airport. She goes, "Can't wait to get to sunny Hawaii," and a burglar's looking at her, going, "Yeah, man."
Yeah, that happened to Kim Kardashian, right?
Yeah, I know a guy that actually won a significant amount of money playing one of the fantasy sports games and posted it. And it was significant.
Like $500?
No, it was six figures.
Whoa.
And then I just went, what? And then there was another post within a week.
Saying he has 800 new friends and relatives and children?
No, there was a post saying he thought someone was trying to break in his house. Well, really?
That's awesome. That's awesome. So check this out. So what's the mission of WikiLeaks? WikiLeaks will accept restricted or censored material of political, ethical, diplomatic, or historical significance. We do not accept rumor, opinion, or other kind of first-hand accounts or material that is publicly available elsewhere. Now, tie that into the philosophy of Julian Assange, and his personal philosophy is opposing what he calls secrecy-based, authoritarian, conspiracy governments, in which category he includes the U.S. government and many others not conventionally thought to be such types of government. So he's got a bent. His mission on WikiLeaks is to expose all of that. So kind of interesting to see where this will develop in the next few years.
Well, we will be watching, that's for sure. Hey, guys, thank you for tuning in for Tech Talk 2020 today. We'll be back with more chock-filled information in about 7 days, and we'll tell you some more information, some things to help us all get smarter together here on WINT Radio, 1330 AM and 101.5 FM.
We'll see you in 6 days and 24 and a half hours.
Who's counting?